So my name is Brenda Meller. I'm with Meller Marketing, and today I'll be walking you through some tips and techniques how to optimize your use of LinkedIn as a nonprofit professional.
I can't hear you on the
phone. Thank you. Okay. Oh, very good. So now the phone, hopefully who's on the phone can hear us here. So what I'd like to do is if you have your phone with you with the LinkedIn app, go ahead and bring your phone out. And if you do have a laptop, if you want to bring your laptop out and log in. Is there Wi-Fi in the room here? Do we need to log into the Wi-Fi to get on our phone apps, or do they work okay? Are you guys able to get on okay?
It's
No.
Yeah,
Okay. I'm sorry, say that again?
You can connect automatically to GOL guest. You don't need to
great.
GOL guest is for the Wi-Fi. You don't need a password. So if you'd like to go on that. All right, so we're going to get going here, and I'm going to welcome my group with anybody watching me on Facebook right now. So what I'd like to walk you through is some different areas, and I'm going to be focusing on three kind of subjects as we're going through here. We're going to talk about optimizing your profile, we're going to talk about building your network, and then we're going to talk about empowering your volunteers. Does that sound okay? Good? All right, so I think is everybody in the room here on LinkedIn? Show of hands, how many people are on LinkedIn? So I think just about everybody is. Usually when I present to the group, there may be one or two people in the room who aren't familiar, and for their benefit, what I like to share is that LinkedIn is a professional networking site. It's not social. Everything on LinkedIn is related to your career, your profession, your industry. And I at times think about LinkedIn almost as a virtual Rolodex. Like that's where I go when I collect a business card. I connect with them on LinkedIn. I don't send them a friend request on Facebook because sometimes I don't want to be friends with the people you do business with, right? But on LinkedIn, it's purely acceptable, and actually it's encouraged that you do so. So when you're collecting business cards, think about connecting to those individuals on LinkedIn. LinkedIn is very widely accepted. I think they're up to 562 million members across the globe. I believe the US, we have one of the highest concentrations of members. And you can find individuals in just about every industry. I think there's 200 countries represented, every job title, every Fortune 500 firm. It's very, very widely used. It is not a job search network. It is a professional networking site that does have some elements for job seekers, but it's actually used more by people for professional networking purposes than it is used by people for job search. So do keep that in mind. So when I talk about LinkedIn, I like to try to get you into the habit of thinking about LinkedIn the same way you think about Google. And when you're thinking about how do you get your organization to come up to the top of search results on Google, you probably spend a lot of time, money, effort, and put people into place to optimize your website. This term, SEO, search engine optimization, you want to come up to the top of search results. The same thing I want you to think about for yourself. Your goal is to optimize your profile so that you can be found by people, so that you can come up in search results. So when we think about optimizing your profile, a couple things I look at as I'm looking at your profile. And if you have your phone out, bring your phone up right now. Look at your profile as I'm going through this, and some of these things you can actually modify as we're going throughout them. So the very first thing I look at on your profile, you have two image areas at the very top of your profile. You have your headshot photo, and then you have a header image in the background. In terms of your headshot photo, keep in mind that about 50% of web traffic nowadays is done on our mobile devices. So for that reason, we want to make sure that we can see your face in your headshot photo. What I look for in your headshot photo is pleasant, smiling. Your face should be about 50 or 60% of the circle. And if your face is a little bit smaller, or maybe it's from the top of your head down to your waist, you can actually go into your phone. I think you can click on the pencil icon and you can zoom it in right now. So you want to be a little bit closer up so that when people are looking at your face on a mobile device, especially in search results, is this the right Brenda that I'm looking for? They can see your face clearly in there, okay? The other thing in terms of your photo, make sure that it's current, meaning if I saw Peggy at an event, I would say, yep, that's definitely Peggy. I wouldn't say, is that Peggy's younger sister, or is it her niece? Do you know who I'm talking about, though? There's a couple people on LinkedIn who have headshot photos from 20 or 30 years ago. We all wish we could be 20 or 30 years younger, but let's all move on together, shall we? Right? So make sure that is a pleasant-looking photo, smiling. Have you guys seen the mugshot photos that some people put on their LinkedIn? And I'm like, I'm scared to connect with this person. So make sure that it is pleasant, professional-looking on there as well. Behind your headshot photo, you have that rectangular image on your LinkedIn. Now, I'm guessing there's probably more than a handful of you in the room that have the default, which is the blue, the teal blue with the interconnected dots and lines. It looks like a universe. Mm-hmm. When you go back to work today or tomorrow, go talk to your marketing department and say, Brenda said that I should get a branded header on my LinkedIn. So this space behind your headshot is an opportunity for you to talk about your business, your nonprofit, your cause, your organization. I was working with a gentleman a while back. He works for the Seeing Eye Dog Association in Rochester. I'm blanking on the name. Does anyone remember it? Is it just Leader Dogs for the Blind? Thank you. And if you look at his profile, his name is David, I believe it's Baan. He has now a picture of a leader dog with a puppy dog in the background image of his profile. What great way to promote the cause that you're working for. So I would say think about that header image the same way you think about a billboard on the side of 94, and that's free space that's being given to you. Why not use that to tell a little bit about your story, what your organization is working on? Maybe you have an upcoming event that you want to promote. Why not use that header image space for that? Okay, so go back, get that header image updated. The next thing I look for on your profile is right below your name, there's a space, and it's the field is called headline. It's not called job title. So by default, LinkedIn will change that to job title at company, so it might be major gifts officer at XYZ organization. I would say think about changing that so something that's a little bit more broader and descriptive and tells people what you do, who you help, and why you're helping them. So I've used the I help blank with blank formula on my LinkedIn headline. So if you look at my profile, it says I help people and businesses with marketing and social media. And then I go on to say marketing consultant, speaker, and there's a few other things on there. But you have 120 characters in that headline, so why not use that space to tell your story? Who are you, and why should we connect with you? Now think about this, in your headline when you're doing if you're doing a search on LinkedIn for people and you see a bunch of people coming up in the search results, the only thing you see, their headshot photo, you see their name, you see their headline, and then you see the area that they're in. So if you're looking up for a certain type of business or service or whatnot, and everybody's coming up and it says business development at XYZ, business development at ABC, business development, blah, blah, blah. And then it says, I help businesses optimize their sales revenue or something different, that might be the one person whose profile you click to go onto. So that will help you to get some more profile views. Is this making sense so far? Mm-hmm. Good, okay. All right, so moving on, underneath your headline, and again, look at your profile for this, there's an area on your profile at the very top, it's called your summary statement. And on your phone, you can only see 3 lines of that, which is usually it's about 10 to 12 words. So what I do is I think about the fact that LinkedIn gives you 2,000 characters total to tell your story in your summary statement. Now I use every one of those 2,000 characters because if somebody is going to take the time to click on my profile and expand their area and read it, I want to give them a lot of information. And feel free, as you're working on your profile, to look at mine as an example. I don't ever get weirded out and say, why is Joe looking at my profile for the 5th day in a row? This is what I do for a living. I encourage people, because when I build my profile, I try to show this is what an optimized profile looks like. So in my summary statement, I want to make sure that the first 10 to 12 words are the most compelling. I want you to get you to click to read more, or at least to stay on my profile and scroll down and keep looking, right? So think about what is the first sentence that you want to tell people about your story. A good way to keep people engaged with that summary statement is to put it in first person. So instead of saying results-oriented, nonprofit, professional, who XYZ, I am passionate about helping Gift of Life because. So start telling us who you are, what is your story. And that might be the one thing that causes people to stay on your profile and click and read more, and then you've got some conversations that are going. Underneath, at the very bottom of your summary, you have a section called Media, where you can upload pictures, you can upload JPEGs, you can upload event flyers. I'm seeing a lot of great information in the folders here today. You can upload maybe video clips, maybe past pictures. I love the infographics of results of your organization. So it kind of gives you a way to provide additional information to market your organization to your audience. So think about if you don't have anything in that media section yet, what could you put in there? You know, flyers for upcoming events, photos and marketing materials, but consider adding a couple pieces of information in there. Okay? Then underneath that, if you keep scrolling down, you're going to get to your experience section on your profile. And first thing, really important, make sure that your employer logo shows next to your employer name. If it does, people can click on that logo and go to your company page and learn more about your organization. If you have the gray building avatar next to it, I like to say gray is not okay. That means it's not linked anywhere. And if people want to learn more about your organization, you have to rely on them going out into Google and doing the search on there. I would say they're there in your profile. Let's make sure it's clickable where they can go out and learn more. Okay? And then in your experience section, what I would recommend is that you fill that in and actually start with a 1 to 2 sentence description. What is your organization? And maybe who do you help? And how do you help those people that you're working with? So start with that description. Then follow that with a description of your role. In my role of marketing development coordinator, I work with donors, et cetera, et cetera. So tell people who you are. Tell people who you're working with, right? In that experience section. I also add into my experience section, and even you'll see this in my summary statement as well, I add a list of keywords that I want to be found for on LinkedIn. So in my case, it's marketing consulting, LinkedIn coach, LinkedIn training, social media consulting. But in your case, it might be donor relationships, organ donation, tissue donation, whatever those keywords are that you want to be found for. Again, remember in the beginning I said think about LinkedIn the same way you think about Google. What are the keywords you want to be found for? And I would say put those in a specialties list on your profile. And if you put this in your experience section as well as in your summary statement, it will help you to come up to the top of the search results on LinkedIn if people are looking for those keywords. Now, not everybody is, but you're just looking for the people that are looking for you on LinkedIn. Underneath the experience, there's a couple other sections in there. The next thing I would have you do is look at your recommendations section on LinkedIn. And recommendations are really powerful because these are actually tied to someone's profile on LinkedIn. So there's a lot of validity that goes against them. Sure, you can put testimonials in your marketing materials, and we all know as job applicants when they say, give us 3 professional references. I mean, really that's equivalent of can you think of 3 people that are going to tell me that you're not a bad person, right? If you can't come up with 3 people, I mean, that's pretty bad. But we all know, those could be your neighbor, an in-law, a relative, who knows. Recommendations are tied to someone's professional profile on LinkedIn, so they have a high level of credibility. So think about the work that you do, and there's probably a handful of people that say, Brenda, you're so passionate about what you do. If you ever need anything, let me know, because I really enjoyed working with you. Those are the people you say, actually, could you give me a recommendation on LinkedIn? And you've worked with me in a capacity, maybe they're a donor, maybe they're an ambassador for your organization, but they love what you do and they're supporting the organization. Ask them to give you a recommendation on LinkedIn, okay? So there's 2 sides of recommendation. There's recommendations that you are given, and then there's recommendations that you give to other people. What I like to look for is that we give more than we receive. So when I'm looking at recommendations on someone's profile, I always like to see that you have a couple more that you've given than you have received on your profile. And in fact, what I would say is if you have no recommendations in either category, focus on giving. Focus on people you've done business with. Maybe it's coworkers, maybe it's heads of organizations that you support, that you're involved in a membership capacity. Maybe they are vendors or clients or other individuals, but think about giving a recommendation to someone first. And then, you can also exchange recommendations, if you have a great 2-way working relationship there, okay? So what I like to think about these recommendations is maybe I'm thinking about doing business with you or making a donation to your organization or signing up to be a volunteer or an ambassador. And I'm like, I don't know, is Peggy, is she a legitimate person? Is she a good person? I might look at her profile and I see the recommendations from people that I know that have said nice things about working with Peggy and the organization. And that might tip the scales for me to consider really signing on and doing something, okay? So that's a little bit of thought there on your recommendations. Next, I want to move into talking about building your network, and this is going to be a bit of a hands-on practice here. So before I do this, show of hands, how many people are personalizing every invitation they're sending out on LinkedIn right now? Okay, so you guys can relax and enjoy yourselves while we're going through this next part. Or you can help your neighbors with this next part. Do you guys know how to do this on mobile too? The people raise their hands? Okay, good. So what I want you to do from this moment forward is every time you send an invitation to someone on LinkedIn, personalize your invitation. Even if they know you, even if you know they're going to accept the invitation, but especially if they don't know you and you're not sure if they're going to accept the invitation. So we're going to practice this right now. I'm going to explain it first, and then I'm going to have you do it, and I might walk around and actually kind of look and give you some help here. So what you want to do is to send an invitation to someone on mobile, you have to be on their profile. Do not click on the connect button. If you click on the connect button on mobile, it will send the invitation off and you can't personalize. Instead, what I want you to look for, it's either the more button or 3 dots, depending on which version of LinkedIn you have. When you click on the 3 dots, you'll have a menu of options, and one of those options is personalize an invitation. So what I want you to do in your invitation is say something, I kind of like to use a formula. Hi, first name, if we've met or not, and I address that. And then I look at their profile, I try to find a couple things that we have in common, or a few things that are interesting to me on their profile. I'm making the invitation all about them. I'm not selling, I'm not talking about my organization, this is all about them. My goal with the invitation is to get you to accept that invitation. Step 2, when they accept it, that might be where I continue the dialogue and then tell a little bit about my organization. But goal number 1 is to get them to accept it. Most people do not personalize invitations on LinkedIn, so I guarantee if you personalize them, your invitations will be accepted at a higher rate. Yours will be the first invitations they look at when they go into their phone and they look at all their pending invitations. And more importantly, you've got a basis for some dialogue to start going back and forth. So what I sometimes happen is I'll send an invitation, I'll reference a couple items in their profile, and they may in their response back to me say, oh yeah, I went to CMU as well, fire up chips, we've got a conversation started here. So we're gonna practice this technique now. So if you're not yet connected to me, you can use my profile as an example to send an invitation to. If you are already connected to me or you just wanna connect with somebody else in the room, turn to your neighbor and then get their name and then let's look them up on LinkedIn and let's try practicing this right now. Okay? And I'm going to walk around and see if anyone needs help with this. Yes?
I'm not seeing I went to the more, and I'm not seeing the personalized.
Are you already connected to the person who's profile?
There's a bunch of relationships.
Click on the back button.
It's probably under relationships.
Oh, okay, so she's a bad.
So if you're already connected, you're not going to see that personalized invitation because you're already connected to them, right? Okay? So turn to your neighbor. Does anyone need help? Raise your hand and I'll come over and help you. So it has to be a second or third level connection, somebody you're not yet connected to, and then personalize it, hi, first name, and it could be, we're today at the Donate Life Coalition of Michigan event, let's connect on
It says
LinkedIn.
remove connection.
Right?
No, we're already
Okay, so I can't.
we're already buddies.
All right, and if you're already connected to the person next to you across the table, you can look up my profile.
Yeah, that's me. That's me.
Okay?
I picked the 3 buttons.
Okay, wait, I'm gonna do you. Tell me your name one more time.
All right, so we've got some good activity going here. And for those of you joining us on Facebook Live, I am doing a live stream right now. We're just doing some practice invitations. I'm going to turn around the camera just to make sure you can see me right now. I didn't test it since we started going. Yep, it looks like we're good.
Oh, you're so good. I help people become professional.
All right, I'll let you wrap that up, and then we're going to move on to another technique for inviting people to
Well, my
connect.
boss made me do it. So he's like, everybody needs to know
Is this a new tool?
So wait, and then don't
I'm gonna
connect.
connect.
What do you do?
They're already connected to you. That's good. You know what you could do too is look in your homepage feeds at a recent status update and all the people who liked it, and then you'll find some on that list that you haven't.
I'm reporting you.
Yeah.
Okay, so there you are. Okay, so
Okay, so when you're done with that technique, I want to show you another. This is a newer technique that LinkedIn has rolled out recently, and it's a way that you can connect with a lot of people at a conference all at once. My only hesitation on this technique is you can't personalize invitations if you use this. But I do want to share this with you. Sometimes you're in a room and someone says, hey, let's pull out our LinkedIn app and connect everybody who's here right now, and it's a great way to add 30 people. You all are in common. You're all aware that you're at the event together, so it can be a useful tool. So what I want you to do is if you are on your LinkedIn, click on the home button, which is a little house icon. Click on your home button. The button right next to that, it looks like 2 people. It's like the shadow avatar of 2 people. On my phone, it's on the bottom, so click on that button. And then that's in the window where you see all of your pending invitations. At the very top, there's 3 icons. The middle icon says Find Nearby. Are you seeing that on your phones?
I missed this one.
Okay, so if you click on the home button first, and then click on the 2 people avatar. So this is where it's showing your pending invitations. And then this is only something you can do on your phone. That's the app that looks like you're in actually the web version of LinkedIn. You won't be able to do it in the web version, you have to do it in the app.
Oh. All right, I'll just.
So click on Find Nearby and then leave that open, because as everybody else's phone opens up and Find Nearby is enabled, it's basically broadcasting people that are open in LinkedIn right now in this room.
So enable.
Did you figure it out?
Yeah,
I sent it
enable,
to you.
you'll have to enable
Oh, no, I
your
got that.
location
Oh, I sent
services
you the
so
other
your
one,
phone
I'm
is
not in
kind
the
of
app. I'm
being able to be found by other people.
I don't know.
Kind of like AirDrop.
I know, I had to put.
Kind of like your resting pictures, yeah.
That's a good thing.
Cool that I learned about.
All right, so are you seeing that? Find Nearby, and you should start, as people are opening this up and as they're enabling their Wi-Fi location services, you should start to see other people here in the room. You're going to see everybody whether you're connected to them or not. Has anybody tried this yet?
No.
Any other events? No? This is newer, and like I said, when you see all of them pop up, I think there's an invite button, and when you send invite, you don't get the opportunity to personalize. So that's the limitation. What I do is I actually will pull this open, and then I'll take screen captures of it, and then when I'm home at night, I'll go back through and I'll send personalized invitations.
So what does it look like when you can invite somebody versus you're already connected? Okay, so ads.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
so
If
if there's
they
a
add-
person with a plus, it's
Yes,
ads.
yeah. So it's
So right now we can just go through and.
you can just, if you wanted, you could do this, but you're not
You're
personalizing
saying
it.
personalize.
I like I said, my hesitation is you lose the ability to personalize, but you gain the ability to invite everybody who's in the room with you, right? So this is, think about if you're at an event, you've got a lot of volunteers or ambassadors or people that you want them to all stay connected. You could say, hey guys, let's pull out our LinkedIn phones. We're all going to agree that the invitations we get tonight we're going to accept because we're not personalizing them.
Yeah.
And then you could say, let's all do this right now so that way we can stay connected.
It just rushes it.
It does.
Okay.
Yeah, it kind of speeds the process up. Yeah, so it's a neat little. Okay. All right, so moving on. Any questions about that before I go on? We're good? Okay, did you guys try it? Did anybody try clicking on the add button there?
So, but instead of adding,
Tutor.
Yeah.
you take a screenshot.
What I do is I
and then
screenshot
you
it,
go back,
and then later on,
personalize it.
I personalize my invitations. Because I like having the dialogue. I would take dialogue over invitations. Like, I don't want to just grow people. I want to grow those relationships, and the dialogue allows me to do that. Yeah. Okay.
And you have the connection from that day.
Right.
Where you can say, I was
Yeah.
at the same meeting.
Yeah, we were at the same meeting where we were asked to pull out our phones and,
Yeah, that's great.
yeah, neat little technique. All right, so that's kind of the steps of personalizing invitations, and then we talked about connecting with people on your mobile phone at a conference. The next thing I want to talk about is just in general, if you want to be really good at LinkedIn, if you want to have a great online presence, the one easy way to do it is just commit to spending 15 minutes every business day on LinkedIn. There's a lot of different ways you could spend that 15 minutes, whether it's reviewing invitations or sending invitations out, going through your book of business cards, or I don't know about all of you, I've got like a coffee mug or a bowl, like we all have something we drop our business cards into, right? But go through those and you could spend 15 minutes a day just inviting new people to connect with you. One thing I would recommend though is spend that 15 minutes a day scrolling through your homepage feed and responding to your network. Almost treat it as if it's, the Detroit News or the Wall Street Journal or New York Times, scrolling through, seeing what are other people in your network talking about. And I put this in your cheat sheet in front of you here. Focusing on your homepage feed, the whole concept here is building social media karma. So we're paying more attention to our network because what will happen is they'll feel good about you when you're liking and commenting on their posts, and then the next time you post a status update, they want to return the favor. And they will help to engage with your post. So this actually is helping you in the long run. So a like is good, and this is a weighted formula for LinkedIn. A like is good. A comment is even better. When you put a comment, don't just say great article. Put a comment of 5 or more words. When you put a comment of 5 or more words, it kind of wakes up the algorithm and LinkedIn says, oh, people are actually talking about this. And then if the person you commented on responds back to you with 5 or more words, LinkedIn says, oh wait, this is one of these popular performing posts. We're going to keep this in the homepage feed longer. Now I guarantee if you connect with me on LinkedIn, I'll be one of those people that every time you open up your homepage feed, I am someplace in your homepage feed. Would you agree with that, Peggy? And I try not to do too much selling about myself and Meller Marketing. I try to do more focus on talking about my network. So when you're at events like today, start getting in the habit of being comfortable with your phone, taking a picture of the presenter, and sharing that on LinkedIn, which takes me into the next technique. And I guarantee if you follow this technique, you will never post the same way ever again. So NEVA is my acronym. N stands for news or information. And think about what are you sharing and why does your audience care, right? Nobody likes humble bragging or any of that, but we want to know what are you learning about? What events are you attending? You know, tell us about these events. So that's the N. The E is engage, and the engage you do so by tagging people and or organizations. So sometimes what I do is if I go to a conference and there's multiple people that are presenting all day, I will take multiple pictures of every one of them. I go back, I choose the best picture because sometimes you get the weird eyes or you know what I mean, like those weird poses and you're like, oh, I wish I took 5 more pictures because you'll get a good pose. So I will go back and at the end of the day, I will post one picture of every one of the presenters and I'll say, today I attended the Donate Life Coalition of Michigan conference. I'm sorry, did I get that right? I got that right, did I? Okay. Good. Pretty close, right? And here are my key takeaways. And I might summarize one thing from each person, and then I might do an @tag with each of the presenters, their name, and I'll put their business as well. So I might put @Brenda Meller of @Meller Marketing. So I'm getting 2 tags in there. When you engage, it actually comes up in their homepage feed, and when that happens, you get the benefit of their large network. Speakers and presenters have large networks. So I guarantee if you tag me in a post, you will get additional profile views today. And if you tag me in a post, I will comment back and I will thank you for tagging and I will recommend that my network consider inviting you to connect as well. So you may get some new invitations with there.
Well, wait a second. Smile.
Well, now I've just, now this is all turned around. So the E stands for engage. The V is visual. So again, that's where the camera comes in. And I was even a little bit hesitant. The student who was here today, I'm like, I want to take a picture of him, but I'm not sure. And then I saw the corner of my eye, Peggy took a picture. I'm like, okay, it's all right to take pictures. So when I'm at a conference or event, what I do is I look for, is there something in the program that has the Twitter handle or the Instagram handle or a hashtag, that little pound sign? That's the organization's way of saying, yep, take pictures and share these on social media. You know, when in doubt, I don't, or sometimes, like in this case, I took the picture and I said I'm going to probably check with Peggy later and make sure he's okay with me posting that. But I do this because it brings people in my network that I meet, it brings them visibility. And there's something that's to be said about that visual element. People don't just like reading, they like reading and seeing. You know, they can actually kind of see what you're seeing. So the V is the visual. And the final element of my NEVA status update is a call to action. So tell your audience, what do you want them to do as a result of reading this post? It might be, if you'd like to learn more about Donate Life Coalition of Michigan, visit their website, and then I might say link in comments. And the reason I put the link in comments is that LinkedIn actually penalizes you if you put links within your status update to an outside website. So if you put it in the comments, they don't look at it the same way, okay? So that's NEVA. So news or information, what are you sharing? E, you're engaging by tagging people and or organizations. And what I do too is not just the people who are presenting, but the organization who's putting it on, right? So if you took a picture of me today, also tag Peggy because she was the one who booked me as a speaker, and that will give Peggy some visibility as well.
Go over tagging again.
Tagging? Go over tagging, did you say? So when you tag someone on LinkedIn, really on any social network, what you do is you put the @ symbol and then start spelling out their name. When you spell out the name, type slow, because LinkedIn takes a second to say, oh, you want to tag somebody. And then when you start typing in Brenda, it's going to pull up all the Brendas in your network that you know. So type slow. One thing I've learned is I'll put like a dash, so I'll put Brenda dash Meller, and I'll type really slow until LinkedIn knows this is actually Brenda with the last name. This is the right person. So it keeps it together. So the @ creates a tag. When you do that on LinkedIn, it actually comes back and tags the person that you are mentioning, and that appears in their homepage feed on LinkedIn. Okay? So you can actually look and see how many people are following that individual. If you look at my profile, if I have any activity at all on my LinkedIn feed, you'll see how many followers I have, and a lot of times speakers have really large followers. So it's a good visual there. Okay. All right, and then last section I want to talk about, and then we'll open it up to any questions, is really for all of you. I heard, many of you are working for nonprofit organizations or in community-based organizations, and how do you use LinkedIn to empower your volunteers? And these are really two simple ways that you can do that. In your LinkedIn profile, there's a section that you can add volunteer, and you can add experience as well. So depending on which section your volunteers or ambassadors feel comfortable putting this in, what I would say is add it to your experience section or add it to your volunteer section. So if you look at my profile, you can look at this right now. If you scroll down to my volunteering section, I've put all of the professional membership organizations that I'm a part of in that volunteering section. When I put them in the volunteering section, their logo appears next to it, and then I can put a description, the committees I serve on, which is volunteering my time, right? Because I'm not getting paid by these organizations, and any events or speaking or anything else I've done for the organization. So think about for your organization, asking your volunteers to add it to their volunteering section. And also your board members. Your board members are well connected. They want to help your organization. And they're helping by donating their time. Sometimes they're doing monetary donations or other donations as well. But they can also volunteer and leverage their powerful networks. People who are in board positions are often, prominent leaders who have a lot of followers on LinkedIn. So if they were to add your organization to their volunteering section, that gives you visibility. Okay? So think about adding that. And when they add it to their volunteering section, give them a 1 to 2 sentence description of your organization to put next to it, along with some type of a call to action. To learn more, visit website or call phone number, something along that line. Okay? So really easy way. The next time you're at a board meeting, say, hey, we had this speaker talking about LinkedIn, and there's one really easy thing you guys can do to help us, and that's add in your board affiliation onto your LinkedIn profile. Okay? So that's one thing. And the other thing is, ask for their stories. I think some of you are already doing this right now as well, but ask for their stories to showcase in your status updates, to showcase on your company page on LinkedIn. Maybe even, recommendations, that could be a way of getting some of those stories as well. Or in your media section, we talked about that earlier, if there's photos or videos or other things that you can use to supplement on your profile, that's another easy way of helping to market your organization. All right. So that kind of covers it off. So today we talked about optimizing your profile, we talked about building your network, and we talked about empowering your volunteers. Now, all of you, I know we have very limited time, and we have, sometimes we're spread so thin to do the things that we're doing, but LinkedIn is really such a great network to connect with professionals from really the region, across the country, across the world, and it's a really great way to get your word out about yourself. And as a nonprofit ambassador, I always think about LinkedIn is a great network to kind of combine both that business and then, how you're giving back as well. All right. In closing, I guess I will take it open to questions, but I do want to mention one other thing. So whenever I give a talk, I talk about, obviously I'm passionate about my work and I love my family as well. I also love coffee, pie, and chocolate. Not necessarily in that order. So I usually will bring pie with me to do a little donation giveaway. And when I was driving out here today, I said, where are there bakeries nearby? Have you guys heard of Zingerman's? Is that like, I don't know, has anybody heard of that? Has anybody not heard of Zingerman's? So I have, for today, I have 2 pies with me. Got a little mini pumpkin. It's personal size, so you don't have to share. Isn't that great? So I've got a little pumpkin pie, and then this other one. I almost kept this one for myself, but I'm like, no, I'll bring it in with me. I'll give 2 of them away. So this is a little lemon meringue pie, okay? And I'm going to pass it around. Yes, I actually do have a pie tin to collect business cards, a pie tin. If you want to be eligible for the drawing, just drop your card in here, and I'll take questions, and then we'll do the pie drawing, okay? So we have 2 winners here for today. All right, any questions? Any LinkedIn-related questions? Yes. Do you mind if I keep the camera rolling during this?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, go ahead.
When I get an invitation from someone that I really don't think is a fit,
Yeah.
do I just ignore it or do I respond to it?
So the question was,
None of you in here.
present party excluded, but the question was, what do you do for invitations that you receive from people that you don't know? Now, my approach with that is I look at everybody who sent me an invitation as somebody who potentially wants to do business with me, or I could potentially want to do business with them, or we could provide referrals to one another. So I don't know because they haven't personalized their invitation. You can't do this on your mobile phone. You can only do this on your desktop. Do you have your LinkedIn open in front of you right now?
don't right now.
So on your desktop, what you do is in the place where you have your pending invitations, there's a little link that says Manage All. When you click on Manage All, it will pull up the list of those invitations. Underneath each of the invitations, there's a link that says reply, or I think it's reply without accepting or something like that. So you can reply to people. And what I do is I screen every single one of those in. So if anybody in the room has sent me an invitation today and did not personalize, and I guarantee there's probably a handful of you that clicked the button, right? You'll get my response back. I have a short version and I have a long version. You're gonna get my long version. My short version is, hi, is it Charles? Yeah. My short version would be, hi Charles, thanks for the invitation, have we met? Brenda Meller. That's my short version. And basically that's more polite than saying, hey Charles, who the heck are you and why do you want to connect with me on LinkedIn, right? So I'm giving you the opportunity to respond back and say either, yes, we have met and you remind me where it was, or no, we haven't met, but LinkedIn suggested you as a connection, or I saw a status update from you, or something else. What I do is that technique, it builds dialogue, and it screens in intentional invitations, and it screens out unintentional invitations. What I mean by that is the people that click on connect, they will not reply back to that message. So then I give it about a month, I look at their profile, decide if they're gonna be a good connection or not, and I might accept it or ignore it. The other people that wanted to send me an invitation for some reason will reply back, and they'll say, yes, we met, or no, we haven't, but, and they'll give me an explanation. Well, guess what? The key here is not whether or not I'm accepting, it's the fact that I've got dialogue going now. So they will say, yeah, I was at the event where you were speaking today, and then I'll say, oh, thanks for taking the time to clarify. I'm happy to connect with you. And then I might do a little sales pitch. My business is Meller Marketing. I help people in businesses with marketing and social media. Tell me a bit about what you do and how I can leverage my network to help you. So I've got dialogue going back and forth. Okay? All right, good question. Any other questions? There's a couple other hands that are up in the back. Yes?
Do you have thoughts on using LinkedIn for fundraising, like a la Facebook? You know, see those requests now all the time.
Yeah, because there's a big day coming up, isn't there? Giving Tuesday. When is that? Is day after Thanksgiving? Is it giving?
Tuesday after Thanksgiving.
Tuesday after Thanksgiving. Thank you. So in terms of thoughts on using nonprofits for fundraising, what I would say is it sounds like everybody here in the room is either working for a nonprofit or you're very heavily involved with it as related to your career. And I think, it's not in the same area of politics. People don't want to hear about politics on LinkedIn. It's just too controversial. What I would say is I would use those messages on LinkedIn, but use them sparingly, right? So when it's appropriate, there's a conversation going on about giving, or there's something happening in the world related to what your organization is all about, remind people, hey, you've probably seen this news item about, and I'm going to use the organ donation, somebody who recently received a heart, and from being involved with the Donate Life organization, reminder to sign yourself up for the organ donor registry, and if you'd like to give, here's a link. So I think use appropriately. I don't think using it all the time. It's the same thing as a salesperson who every single status update, he's saying, hey, I can help you with your mortgage. Sign up and learn more. Hey, sign up for my e-newsletter. I can help you with your mortgage. Need a mortgage? Sign up for me. I'm your mortgage guy. You guys, what I'm talking about. So you want to be kind of conscientious of how much of those selling messages that are going out there, but I think definitely you could use that on LinkedIn. Has anybody tried doing that on LinkedIn as a status update?
Yeah, I've done it for when we've done our organ donation awareness campaigns through Betsy. I've sent some messages out there, and you just kind of promote.
Yeah, you leave it out there, and people that want to respond will respond. I've responded on Facebook, and I've responded on LinkedIn sometimes to those messages. If it's not relevant to me, I probably skip over it. But if it's relevant to me, I have actually on my LinkedIn profile, in my summary at the very bottom, I talk a little bit about myself, and I have this, and I will bump into somebody at some point who will say, I know how you can help. My mom passed away from cancer, so I have in my summary, at some point I want to do something meaningful for the American Cancer Society beyond just giving. So that is something like if somebody works for the American Cancer Society and they stumble upon that, they might say, hey Brenda, we need some help. Can you help us in that area? You might find some stuff like that on summary statements, or even what I will do is periodically do a scan for keywords that my customers are using in the LinkedIn search, and you might find some profiles from that too. All right, any other questions? Did everybody get the pie tin thing? You ready for pie? See who gets it? Who's going to help me with this? Are you going to help me because you were sitting next to me? let me mix them up a little bit here. Okay. All right, we're going to pick 2 of them here.
Here's
All right, number 1. Okay, we're going to go. Number 1 gets the first pick. So this is Denise Matowski. Denise, come on up. Would you like the pumpkin or the lemon?
I'll do lemon.
All right, there we go. You want the little bag to take with you here too?
Sure.
There you go. Personal size, so you don't have to share. It's the best part of it, right? All right, second person, Bill Ryan. Bill, where are you at? All right, front row. Do you like pumpkin pie? If not, you can give it away and make a friend. Somebody. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for having me. I do work with both individuals and teams and love helping with social media marketing. And that's how Peggy found me, was I gave a LinkedIn talk to a group a long time ago. Connect with me on LinkedIn. If you ever do have any questions, feel free to reach out. And at the bottom of your flyer, I'm not going to read this off on Facebook because this offer is not for everybody. It's just for the people here in the room. But look at the offer that's on the bottom of your handout there. And if you'd like some help, just let me know. Okay? Thank you so much.
Thank you.